Good evening, Monrovia. We are here tonight to provide a candidates forum. It's sponsored by MTA, the Monrovia Teachers Association, in association with our CSCA people, and the president of CSCA is Lori Schlageter. In a moment, I'll have her lead the Pledge of Allegiance. We would like to thank the League of Women Voters Pasadena for providing the assistance in being the moderators for the show, and thank you to all the candidates for showing up tonight, and you can get to show us what you've got, guys. Okay, this is Joe Finkblatt, is that correct? Feinblatt, okay, I almost had it right. And he is going to explain what he's going to explain. Okay, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance before we get to that part. Go for it.
Okay. Please stand. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Someday.
Welcome to the Monrovia School Board Candidate Forum. We thank the Monrovia Teachers Association, the candidates, and above all, you, the voters, for your participation. My name is Joe Feinblatt, which you have already heard. I'm a volunteer with the League of Women Voters Pasadena area, which includes Monrovia as one of the San Gabriel Valley communities that we serve. And yes, if you have questions, the League welcomes membership and participation by men as well as women. The League's mission is making democracy work by building a community of engaged, informed, and participating voters. We study and act on public policy issues, but we never endorse or support candidates or political parties. We assist with forums like this one as part of our voter services program. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce the rest of our league. In addition to the moderator, we have Catherine Gavzi, who is our timekeeper, and you can see she's holding her signs that will warn the candidates of their time. We also have Peppy Feinblatt, Sandra Hagee, and Jane Wallace, who are the question sorters. Here's an overview of the process and the flow for the evening and the rules of the forum, which have been agreed to by the candidates. First, each candidate will have 2 minutes to make an opening statement. The candidates will speak in the order based on numbers drawn before the forum. The timekeeper will keep the candidates informed of the time remaining and will raise a red card when her or his time is lapsed. Once a candidate's time is up, he or she will conclude their statements as quickly as possible. If not, I might say something like, thank you, and urge them on. But after opening the statements, each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each submitted question. This will be tracked by the timekeeper. There will be no rebuttals. The audience is invited to write their questions to the candidates during the opening statements and throughout the forum, although I noticed that many or maybe even most of you have already submitted questions, so that we already have those available. Look for runners who will be circulating in the room with more cards and pencils, and hand your completed card to the runner who will deliver it to the sorters. They will sort the questions to eliminate duplicates, broaden any specifically addressed to a single candidate, so all candidates can respond to it, and they'll eliminate any that involve personal attacks. They may, if needed, edit questions for clarity and brevity. If there are several questions on a similar issue, they may be combined into one. The sorted questions are given to the moderator. If you feel your question has been misinterpreted, please submit another. Although due to time limitations, not every question may be used. Please feel free to discuss the issues with the candidates following the conclusion of the forum. The following rules apply to all questions. Only written questions will be accepted. They must be in the form of a question, not a statement. Questions must deal with issues of this election. No personal references or attacks will be allowed. All submitted questions, asked or not, remain the property of the League of Women Voters. They are never given to the press or other third parties. They will be destroyed after the forum. At approximately 8:15 or so, the question period will end and the candidates' closing statements will begin. Each candidate will have 1 minute to give their closing statement, and they will speak in the reverse order from the opening statements. There will be no rebuttals again. The League of Women Voters does not permit campaign activity in this room, including distribution of flyers, display of clothing like t-shirts or caps, posters, or buttons. A table is provided outside for campaign literature. Now, as a courtesy to the candidates, please turn off or silence your cell phones. Are there any questions about the format or rules of the forum? If not, we will begin the candidates' opening statements, beginning with Christian Holt.
My name is Christian Holt. I've lived in Monrovia. Christian Holt, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this evening, and our moderator as well, Joe. Thank you. I've lived in Monrovia for 25 years. Of those 25 years, I've been volunteering at the school district and in the community for 19 of those years. I have been on just about every PTA committee. I was also the parliamentarian on the PTA, vice president of the PTA, and also president of the PTA, school site council, and as well the principal. It's a position where you help determine who the principal for the school is going to be. In the district, I have translated quite a bit, as well as my own occupation. I am a financial advisor. I've been doing that for 25 years. I want to also let you know that I have founded a 5K that I sponsored and ran for 10 years. A lot of people in the community, the school district, participated in that. That was promoting exercise, family, friends, and community. I also founded the Yearbook Buddy Pictures that promoted friendship and reduced the cost of the yearbook for families. Also, I was the one that co-founded the Watchdog program. I want to thank everyone and thank you for your consideration for being on your Monrovia School Board. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Celine Lockerbie.
Good evening. My name is Celine Lockerbie, and I am your boots on the ground candidate for Monrovia School Board. I am running to bring gender diversity, transparency, and your voice to the school board. I am a parent with school-aged children. I'm a Girl Scout leader. I'm a community volunteer and a school volunteer. I have served on the school site council and on the PTA board. I look forward to reinforcing our success stories throughout the district, and I am passionate about bringing a new perspective to working with the board, the superintendent, parents, teachers, and our state and federal legislators to move toward better budget management that focuses resources on the schools, not on bureaucracy, a more developmentally appropriate curriculum, and innovative programs that entice enrollment to MUSD. I have been listening to students and parents and teachers and the board for 6 years. I have been living with the need for change. Change isn't just, it's not just time for a change. Change is imperative. We need board members who understand what our students and teachers are going through on a daily basis. We need board members who will listen, who will ask the tough questions, and who will communicate openly with stakeholders. We need to stop electing career politicians and start electing public servants. I am that public servant. Please vote for Celine Lockerbie for Monrovia School Board. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Terrence Williams.
Good evening, Monrovians. It has been my pleasure to serve on the board and in this capacity this year as the president. I have been a Monrovian for the last 29 years. I had 4 kids, one who graduated, and all four graduated. One that graduated in college. I have 2 still in college, and of course I have a special needs son. I serve also at the Monrovia Authority Town Council as a vice chair in an unincorporated Monrovia, quite frankly as the only board member who resides in an unincorporated area. I also volunteer play-by-play announcer for the last 10 years for the football team, all 3 levels, as well as the girls and boys basketball. Some of the accomplishments I'm most proud of is closing the achievement gap, increased high school graduation rates, programs like AB 288 that provide pathways to offset college tuition at Citrus College, advocating for fully funded education as a parent who happens to have a special needs son, established broadcast capabilities for the entire community. When I got on board, it was only broadcasting in the Monrovia city. We have 2 schools, Plymouth and Santa Fe, and parents had no dialogue or idea about the diocese. And also helped establish dual immersion programs, also to support teen suicide programs as well, and setting the tone with the entire board and celebrating Frank Jansen as a library dedication, which we're planning on having October the 26th. I have a passion for kids in this school district, and as a Monrovia, I would like to serve you another term to do this important work. Thank you.
And now our last candidate is Maritza Travanti. Sorry.
I'm Maritza Travanti. Thank you for the opportunity for being here tonight. As a parent of a school-age child, school volunteer, Hispanic female, and a 28-year government professional, I am the best choice for the Monrovia School Board. As a senior policy analyst with the Internal Revenue Service, I have the skills that directly translate to the duties of a school board member, such as data analysis, interpreting federal and state law, regulations, statutes, analyzing large budgets, and drafting new policy. Education everywhere is changing right before our eyes, and I want to ensure Monrovia is on that cutting edge and preparing our children for a fast-paced world. The biggest issue the district is facing is declining enrollment and the resulting loss of funding. To retain and attract new students, the district needs to continue adding programs that are attractive to students and then become Masters of the Arts programs, Masters of Code of the Future, Masters of Dual Immersion, and Masters of the STEM and academic programs. And add curriculum that makes our graduating students competitive when applying to the colleges and universities that they desire. And then we need to share the good news because great things are happening in the schools of Monrovia. I have 3 action items. If elected, I will hold the district accountable with correctly forecasting student enrollment prior to the beginning of the school year. I will be asking the district for a comprehensive strategic plan for special education, which includes specialized training, and I will be asking the district for a school safety and vulnerability assessment. 66% of all enrolled Monrovia students are Hispanic or Latino. The board is in dire need of someone that understands the challenges and barriers that exist with many of those students and families. Currently, the board consists of 5 males, none are Hispanic, and none have school-age children. Diversity is needed on the board, representative of its community. Thank you.
Thank you for all your statements. Now we're going to proceed with the questions. I will be starting with Mr. Holt, and then each of you will have a chance to answer the question. I'll read the question once at the beginning, and then if any of you have questions about the question, I will be happy to repeat it, but I won't repeat it unless you ask, okay? So the first question is, what would your top 3 priorities be for MUSD? Mr. Holt.
Top 3 priorities. First one would be improving the budget. Without the budget, you can't fund anything. Second would be eradicating bullying in the schools. Last thing would be improving the communication amongst the district and the community. More importantly, with parents, students, teachers. Thank you.
Ms. Lockerbie.
My top three priorities, which I am calling my trifecta of education, are developmentally appropriate curriculum, innovative programs that entice enrollment to MUSD, and better budget management that focuses resources on the schools and not on bureaucracy. I welcome everyone to please go to my Facebook page where I unpack those more at length and have a video for each one of those where you can understand more about those priorities. Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
Special education resources. Planning on going back to Washington, D.C., and I am currently working in conjunction with Congresswoman Grace Napolitano to get resources for special needs. I'd like to see a transition in our middle schools to complement Wild Rose Creative Arts Schools with arts programs. Arts is important to the whole child. And I also like to encourage Camp Catchup for every elementary school in the summertime. This last summer, we had kids in the elementary school in Camp Catchup, and they grew 6 months from the rigor that was introduced during Camp Catchup. As we know, the mandate is dictated from the state with the rigor, with the test. We need something to supplement those kiddos before they go to the regular school. That's one of 6 things that I want to do. 3 of 6, rather. Thank you.
And Ms. Travante.
Thank you. I did mention in my opening statement 3 items, and in addition to those 3 items, what I'd like to see the district do is do a State of the District address on an annual basis, because I think the district, it really needs to do more work in communicating with its constituents and its stakeholders, parents, teachers, and really talk about the great things that are going on in the district. Unless your child is at a school with Code of the Future, you really don't hear about what's going on. So I'd like to see the district do that. And also address the obstacles, the barriers, and the funding issues that are going on, and being open and transparent with our public.
Thank you. Now, for the next question, we're going to go through our rotation system in which Ms. Lockerbie will be the first to answer. What do you understand to be the role of a board member in MUSD?
Thank you for that question. I understand the role of a board member to be someone that listens to the community, and that they are elected by the community, and they are someone that will hire the superintendent, set expectations for the superintendent, that then set expectations for how we perform as a district and within the schools. Thank you.
And Mr. Williams.
Based on the board bylaw 9000, the governing board is elected by the community to provide leadership and citizen oversight of the district. The board ensures that the district is responsive to the values, the beliefs, and priorities of the community. We dictate policies and decisions with setting the directions for the district based on the stakeholders, which is the community. Thank you.
Ms. Travanti?
Yes, thank you. The board there are 5 elected members. They are officials and they do set the tone for the district. They oversee the superintendent. The superintendent then oversees the district, all the staff and the faculty and the teachers of the district. We set the policy, we review policy, we review the budget and make sure that the district is adhering to the budget. And we also approve any curriculum changes or any program additions so that we continue to remain attractive to students so that we don't lose any students in the district.
Thank you. And Mr. Holt?
There are 5 people on a school board. Those 5 are decided by the community. Those 5 board members are in charge of the superintendent. The superintendent is in charge of the remaining staff for the Monrovia Unified School District. The board plays an important role. They monitor the budget. They make sure that policy is in place, and when funding needs to get done, they put together bonds in order to fund. Thank you.
Okay, we're ready for the next question, which this time is going to start with Mr. Williams. How do you propose drawing more students into MUSD? Will improved test scores help draw new students?
No. Our great teachers and our wonderful staff will draw the students here, as well as the position we have taken with broadcasting our success stories. In my humble opinion, we have the best teachers and staff in the entire San Gabriel Valley. I'm humbled to say that just because it is an election doesn't mean that the school board or the school district is not fantastic. I think we're second to none to anyone. I think if we continue to broadcast our success stories and be direct about the things that we're not doing correct, which is the math and the English that's dictated by the state, we will receive more students. I think we encourage the community that Monrovia is the gem city of the foothill, and nothing is better than a public education in the Monrovia Unified School District that will also attract additional students as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Ms. Travanti.
I have to agree with Mr. Williams. I think there's great things here happening at the district, and we all need to share that good news, like I said in my opening statement. But what we need to do, what's going on here, especially against the foothills, all the districts are experiencing declining enrollment due to gentrification. It's just a fact. We have an aging group, and actually young families are priced out of our neighborhoods. It's very hard to attract the young families with the school-age children. So what we do on the board of the district is to do everything we can to retain the students that we have and attract those by sharing the good news and being experts at the programs that we have. We need to make them really strong. All right, thank you.
Mr. Holt?
Our great teachers and our academic scores here in Monrovia are good, with room for improvement. Our music programs that we have is phenomenal in comparison to other districts, as well as our sport programs. When you apply those three items together, it really does bring the attention to the school district and makes younger people want to come here. So if we continue doing that and excelling in that, that will be what would bring kids to the community, as well as the follow-up from the school district, campaigning and marketing to other communities and showing through media the performance that we're excelling in. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lockerbie, Ms.
Yes.
Tavanti.
No, no, it's me. You were right the
You're
first
right,
time.
okay.
Would you repeat the question for me, please?
Okay, how do you propose drawing more students into MUSD? And as part of that, I added another question. Do improved test scores help draw students?
Okay, thank you for that. There are a few ways that I propose enticing more students to MUSD. One of them is California now has a dashboard where anybody can go and look online and look at the performance of the schools and compare schools. If you look at the performance of the schools in Monrovia Unified School District, you will see that our achievement gap is not closing. You will see very clearly what our scores are, who is performing well, who is not performing well. If someone wants to shop for schools, they will be able to see that there are problems in the Monrovia School District, and it might send them to other schools. So in order to entice more students to Monrovia School Board, we have to close the achievement gap. We have to close the achievement gap by giving programs to our at-risk students and our young children at the beginning of their education. When we educate them at the beginning, they have a strong foundation to be successful, and that will bring enrollment to Monrovia Unified School District.
Thank you. Ms. Travanti now. You get to be the first one to answer this question. How will you utilize your position as a board member to better serve the school community?
Well, I'm a very open person, and anybody in this room knows me knows that, and I will continue that. And I'm very approachable and hope to engage parents, and also we'll be asking the district to ensure that they are engaging the parents and the teachers. I'll give you an example. We have the ARIES program for our schools. There were some enhancements made this last year that just, I think, are not working. My first question to the IT director will be, did you go to the end user? Did you go to the teachers? Did you go to the parents? Those are the kind of things that I will be doing if elected to the board.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Holt.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay, how will you utilize your position as a board member to better serve the school community?
I'll continue doing what I've been doing for the last 19 years. Communicating with the parents, the teachers, the students, the community, making myself accessible. If there's a situation or a problem, I'll direct them to get those problems solved. Also, social media is important. With this day and age, we want to make sure that the communication between us and the community is always there. That would be a few of the ways of doing it, but basically, being that I've been so involved in the district and with the community, communication is key. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, Ms. Lockerbie.
Thank you. How I will utilize my position as a board member to improve the community. I have been speaking with the community for the past several months as I have been campaigning. And what I have heard from the community, from the parents, from the stakeholders, is that they want a board member who is approachable, who will listen to them, who will listen to the issues. That is one thing that I will do to improve the community in the schools. And another thing that I have heard from the stakeholders is that board members are not always present at the schools. So in order to improve the schools and improve the community and make improvements for stakeholders, I will be present in the schools.
Thank you. Mr. Williams.
I plan on continuing to stay approachable. People know me, that know that I'm approachable. I stay in the weeds because I want to know what's going on in my community. Continue to broadcast the success stories of everyone, what we're doing in our community. Like I said, we have some excellent teachers and staff and students, and quite frankly, parents that need to be acknowledged. Continue to be visible in all aspects of the district, which I do now with my presence at all of the school functions, which includes the teachers. Advocate for special needs as a parent with special needs, and some of the people that we've got resources with. As you know, we're only getting 12%. And then continue to review some of the things that we're not doing right. And that's in every district. We can get better. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're back to starting with Mr. Holt. What are your thoughts on the possible ways to stem the loss of students to other districts?
I would say that we have to identify which kids we could potentially lose, which parents are the ones that are dissatisfied, and the ones that we find out that are moving out of the community, let them know that their children can continue coming to our school. That's the main thing, is that lots of times when they leave, we lose touch with them, and we have to maintain that. So as long as we make sure that we are tracking the kids, when they are leaving, let them know that they can come back even though they're out of the district, and just maintain that communication with them. We may lose them for 1 year, but maybe we can get them back the following year and let them know the special programs we have going on and how well we're doing. Thank you.
And Ms. Lockerbie.
Well, my thoughts on ways to stem the loss of our enrollment to other districts is to be informed on what the other districts are doing, and see if we can do the same thing. If we are losing children to Duarte, I think Duarte has a special academy. I know that Arcadia has a special academy. So if we can bring those things to our district, then that is something that we can do to stem the loss. It's also very important for us to continue with our music and theater and art and dance in the community. It is growing, and we need to continue to expand it, because those are things that will not only help our children developmentally, but will keep our students from leaving.
Thank you. And Mr. Williams.
I think we need to continue to share our success stories. You know, people need to know what we're doing here. You know, also I think we need to create a middle art school from the middle level that will complement the creative art school at elementary, and also complement our outstanding programs at the Monrovia High School. I think we need to get parents more involved with the PTA so they can know what's going on. As a parent who happens to have 4 kids, I was involved. I mirrored everything what my teachers were doing in the classroom at my home, so I can make sure what was going on. It's up to the parents to get involved. It's up to the district to let the parents and the community know what we're doing here. And I also think we should solicit our dual immersion programs more open to the community. Let them know what we got going here. We have a wonderful Mandarin program and a Spanish program. And so those are the things that I think we need to focus on, and what we're already doing good for the district.
Ms. Travante.
Yes, thank you. Besides sharing the great news, there are going to be some children that leave the district, and they have valid reasons for leaving the district, and maybe they're moving out of the city, out of the state, or what have you. But I think it's important that the district makes an effort and asking the parents, providing an exit interview. Find out what it was about the district. If they're now switching over to a private school or a different district, let's find out what it was that they maybe didn't like or what they're attracted to in that other district. This is how we'll learn and how we can retain our students. So definitely sharing the good news and becoming subject matter experts in the programs that we have. We need to be very strong in those programs so that the word gets out.
Thank you. Now, for the next question, we're going to begin with Ms. Lockerbie. What knowledge do you have in the area of financial solvency and MUSD?
What knowledge do I have of financial solvency of the budget in MUSD? I actually took the budget that is public to a forensic economist yesterday and had him help me try and decipher it, as well as I have gone through the minutes of the board for the past several years. And I understand that we have some financial difficulties that we're working through right now. So I do understand that we have some difficulties, and I have some ideas on how to work through those, but that is not the answer to your question. So the knowledge that I have is based on the information that I can find within the district, and there is some knowledge, and there are some things that are not very transparent about the budget. Understandably, it's a very large budget.
Thank you. And Mr. Williams.
Can you repeat the question? I want to make sure I understand you.
Okay. What knowledge do you have in the area of financial solvency and MUSD?
My 5 years of being on the diocese has pretty much enlightened me on a lot of things. Also, being a third-generation business owner has prepared me to understand the finances involved, but I would truly have to say the capacity in which I've served for the last 5 years has pretty much given me season of understanding of what we're doing in the district.
Thank you. And let's see where Ms. Travanti.
Yes, I think I mentioned before that I work for the Internal Revenue Service, and for many of those years I was on the enforcement side and worked with large businesses and corporations as well as individuals in working through their budgets, and these are multi-million-dollar budgets and more. So I have that experience. I've also been attending the board meetings for well over a year faithfully, knowing that I was going to be campaigning, and I've gotten very involved with agenda items, the budget, and I will also mention that I am married to a CPA, so if I do have any questions and something isn't clear in that budget, I do have my husband to tap into, and I'm grateful for that. But I am not afraid of getting into the weeds and really figuring it out.
Thank you. And Mr. Holt.
As I said before, I've spent 19 years in this school district. I have 3 daughters that have been to both of the middle schools, and 2 that have graduated the high school, and 1 that's a senior at the high school. I'm a financial advisor. I analyze stocks and bonds for a living. I've seen companies that have succeeded, and I've seen companies that have failed, and I've analyzed quite a few of them. That is what I bring to the table. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now, looks like Mr. Williams is up for the first of this question. How do we work with a budget that doesn't have enough money earmarked for special needs kids?
You strongly advocate, period. You grasp the community, you get other stakeholders to adopt your passion, to receive the resources that we need. You advocate with people that we did last year with Kamala Harris, Dianne Feinstein, and of course Grace Flores Napolitano. We advocated directly with them about the resources we're not getting. And we have the audacity to go back and do it again. And so that's what I think we should be doing. Right to the point, straight to the point, let them know that we cannot continue to subsidize our general funds to help our special need kiddos.
And Ms. Travanti.
Yes, as an employee of the Internal Revenue Service, a few times of the year I do go to DC for work. So what I plan on doing is leveraging and staying over an extra night and having meetings with our legislators for more funding for special education. We need fair funding. I'll do the same with our state legislators. Yes, like Mr. Williams says, we do need to take money from the general funds to cover the expenses of special needs and the special needs programs. However, I will also say that we need to do a better job on the front end for special education and providing early intervention, providing the right credentialed employees and training for those employees. So if we're doing a better job on the front end, we're not paying so much in litigation costs and settlements. Thank you.
And Mr. Holt.
Those funds, once they come to the school district, lots of time they're earmarked specifically what they're for. When we exceed the amount that's earmarked for that special need, then we can go to this general budget if there's funds available. Beyond that, we need to go to the community, we need to go to our politicians and ask them for that money. I'm not a politician. I'm a parent that's been giving to our school district for 19 years. But I know how to communicate to our politicians and to our community to help support these programs. So we need to reorganize, focus, and fund special needs. Thank you.
And Ms. Lockerbie.
How do we work with a budget that doesn't fund sufficiently for special education? We don't. The funding for special education is what is referred to as an unfunded or an underfunded mandate. The state and the federal government mandates that special needs children receive services because they should, absolutely, but they don't pay for it. In California, $18 billion is needed to fund special education. The state of California gives us $1 billion. The feds give us $4 billion. The other $13 billion is the responsibility of the school districts in California, and it comes out of their general fund. What I want to do is talk to our state and federal legislators, specifically our California legislators, and ask them, tell them, have you demand that they close the loopholes in Proposition 13 that corporations are leaping through. If the corporations pay their fair share, we can fund public education.
Thank you. Ms. Travanti, do you feel that LGBTQ students are safe at our schools? What more could be done to make kids feel more comfortable?
You know, I had the honor and privilege of attending an event at Rancho Cucamonga High School on Monday, and it was for Renaissance, and we had a great presence from our Monrovia schools at this event. It was a regional conference, and that topic came up, and it was in a forum, and all the students that identified themselves as LGBTQ or transgender or whatever had great discussion and great dialogue with all the kids there. And what I'm hoping is that our Renaissance leaders, students that were there, are going to come back to our campuses and share that news. I believe in equality, and I believe that that needs to happen on all of our school campuses, and I'm completely behind any program that's introduced for fairness and equality in our district.
Mr. Holt.
I've had the pleasure, like I said, my daughters have been going to the Monrovia schools, and I've personally communicated with several kids that felt different, or they felt mistreated and bullied, but also that were accepted. And one of the things that I've noticed is that at the high school level, Monrovia Unified School District, they have very good clubs for the kids, and it gives them a great support system. But along that, I noticed, and I have a program that I'm going to be putting together that's about eradicating bullying. And no matter what you identify with, what your orientation is equality for all kids, and all kids appreciating everyone. Thank you.
Ms. Lockerbie.
Would you repeat the question for me, please?
Do you feel LGBTQ students are safe at our schools? What more could be done to make kids feel more comfortable?
Thank you. I have spoken over the years to many often LGBTQ students in our school district, and many of them don't feel safe. Many of them feel disenfranchised, discriminated against, bullied, and marginalized. For the parents and guardians of LGBTQ students, I want to let you know that I've got your kids back. I will not tolerate bullying, discrimination, marginalizing, or disenfranchising your students. I will make sure that as a board member, they can come to me and know that they will be safe, that I will stand up for them and make sure that they are made to feel safe. Thank you.
And Mr. Williams.
To answer your question, yes. We treat every student with priorities in the Monrovia Unified School District. I've got LGBT people in my family, and the solution to that is communication and letting people know that everybody is different. We have to communicate different people to everyone. There is no, we can't teach this person, or you can't teach that person. Every child in the Monrovia Unified School District will be taught. I don't think there's a teacher or a janitor or a staff member or an administrator who would put up with discrimination with a student, and neither will I.
Thank you. Mr. Holt, how would you address the different needs of elementary and secondary schools?
The needs of an elementary school student is your foundation in a child's education, which means that we have to make sure that when the kids come to school, they feel safe, they feel secure. Once the young child feels safe and secure, let them know that they can communicate and express themselves. Take the time to help them in their academics, and then they'll flourish. And then once they reach the secondary school, you continue doing the exact same thing, but we're focusing more on real life activities, making sure that the kids' education is more of a priority, that they're still entertained, but they're still focused on education. Education right now has to be number one, not only in our school district, but in our state and in our country. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lockerbie.
As the parent of 2 elementary school children, I know what they need. I'm with them every night. I'm in the schools with them every day. And I know that in Monrovia Unified School District, what we need our more developmentally appropriate curriculum in the younger grades so that there is a foundation for learning. I know that in the Spanish dual immersion program at Monroe Elementary School, we need smaller class sizes. We can't teach 2 languages, this rigorous curriculum, and have class sizes of 35 students. So I want to look throughout the district at the elementary schools and make sure that the class sizes are appropriate so that learning can actually happen. And I want to make sure that we support and listen to our teachers because they are there in the classrooms with our kids, and we need to listen to what they have to say because what they say is what we need to put into the classrooms.
And Mr. Williams.
How I would address the needs of the elementary students and the middle school students is what I did when I got on the board. We need to continue to hire the best educators. When I became a board member, Plymouth and Santa Fe were considered the dirt of the district as far as the schools. We focused on that, and we continue to hire the best educators at both Plymouth and Santa Fe. As of today, Plymouth is in line with all the other elementary schools. Through the likes of Dr. Giroux, Dr. Z has established a foundation at Santa Fe that mirrors Clifton. We need to continue to hire the best educators, listen to our stakeholders, which is our teachers. Those are our most important stakeholders. They're in the classroom, and continue to give them the tools and resources to succeed. And this is something we have done in the Monrovia Unified School District with both Plymouth and Santa Fe. Transition those schools with better educators, more communication, and more direct dialogue with the parents.
Thank you. And Ms. Travante.
Nationwide statistics show that 30% of our third graders are not at benchmark reading level. So what I'd like to see done is more emphasis on our TK kindergarten, first and second grade, when they're learning, their foundation of reading and making them stronger readers so that with the new Common Core curriculum, they're doing much better throughout their educational career. Now, my daughter went to Brad Oaks and she had a wonderful experience. Absolutely the best teachers, and was part of the GATE program. But there's a drop-off when they get to the middle school, and I'd like to see us get stronger in the elementary level, but then carry that through middle schools and then into high school. We need to have those core subjects strong, the sciences strong, and English arts. So that's what I would see. I think we really need to focus on TK in kindergarten. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Lockerbie. Please explain your opinion of the role of the school board when it comes to district performance as pertains to the smarter, balanced test results.
I want to get some paperwork here, if you wouldn't mind. The role of the school board in regards to the smarter balanced test results, or the SBAC as parents know them as, we need to be looking at the test results, and we need to be working to close the gap for the students that are not meeting the standards. I actually have the test results for Monrovia Unified School District for all of the schools and the district in general from 2015 to 2018. And district-wide, I will just mention, the combined not or nearly met, which means students that did not meet their standards, in 2018 is 58.76% of our students did not meet the standards. So it is my job, it is our job as board members to look at that, address that, and have that turn around and change. We need to have our students be successful on the tests. However it is, we need to do that.
And Mr. Williams.
Thank you. As most of you know, the rigor is dictated by the state. And I disagree with the panel. We have increased our scores. Unfortunately, the state scores are at low 48, 49%. You know, we are steady climbing, despite the rigor brought to our attention by the state. As I mentioned earlier, I think Camp Catchup is a great solution. It allows the rigor in the rigor in summer school. Most kids like to go to summer school and play and hang around. What I saw at Plymouth was people engaging. And despite the state tests and the state demands, Monrovia is doing better than the average. That's not a compliment. We got work to do. But we have to continue to create programs to make our students better despite what the state is bringing upon us.
And Ms. Travanti.
Yes, thank you. Again, it goes back to early intervention at the very beginning. If the students are not scoring at level, then what are we doing to intervene and make sure that they get to that level? Back when my daughter was at Brad Oaks, we had a Miss Eiler, interventionalist, and she did a phenomenal job, but it did take commitment from the parents and the student. They needed to come into on campus 45 minutes before school started, and they had very intense work with the students, and they brought a lot of students up to grade. So what I'd like to see is that rolled out to all of our elementary campuses and make sure that we have that program so that we can increase test scores. If they do good in reading, they're gonna do well in all the other subjects as well. Thank you.
And Mr. Holt?
We definitely need to do a better job of intervening with kids at a younger level. We need to identify what the problem is with the child. In order to do that, we need to analyze test scores, need to analyze and speak with the child and find out, is it a language issue? Lots of kids speak more than one language at home. Or are they dyslexic? And there's a lot of kids that are dyslexic that go on not knowing. So we need to rectify that. If we apply ourselves in analyzing the child and figuring out what their individual problem is and then addressing that individual problem, they're going to be much more successful. Therefore, our school district will be successful. And that success we could bring out through our media. And then that would definitely bring more people to our school district as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, starting with Mr. Williams, I'm going to try and pull these two questions together because they're different, but they're related. So I hope the people who wrote them will be happy. But these are regarding Camp Catchup. And so the two kinds of questions are, one is if Camp Catchup is using successful methods, why isn't that process used throughout the year? And the second question is, how is the progress created by Camp Catchup evaluated, and how is that information presented to the public and others?
Well, we just started it. And as I mentioned earlier, my intention, as well as the board, is to create Camp Catchup throughout the entire district. So we just started it, and it is a success story. As I mentioned earlier, kids grew 68% in that classroom in math and English in their understanding. The LCAP sets the tone with all of these things, and that's how it originates. But from my understanding, you know, if we continue with the Camp Catchup and expand it from the success we just created this summer school and all the elementary schools, we will, in my humble opinion, test scores will go up increasingly at an increased rate.
Okay, Ms. Travanti.
Yes, I was at a board meeting recently when they presented the results of this last summer's Catchup camp. And I was really impressed with what I was hearing, with the tremendous amount of growth that happened in that short amount of time. So I definitely, if elected to the board, will be promoting this program and helping it expand into maybe a couple more campuses so that more kids have the opportunity. Thank you.
Mr. Holt?
It's definitely a new program, and it's a new program that has been very successful. That's one of the things that we can say about our school district is that they're not sitting on their hands and not doing anything. They're trying to be innovative and coming up with great ideas. This is a success story that shows that the district is doing a great job, and they're looking to progress. And it's something that I'm sure they're going to expand on, definitely. Thank you.
And Ms. Lockerbie?
Can you ask the second part of that question? Can you ask the second part of that question again for me, please?
Okay, well,
How is it presented?
yeah, I mean, okay, this person was interested in, in the 6-month report or whatever it was, and how is this information circulated and publicized?
Okay. I'm going to answer that part of the question first, and I hope that I understand the question. I'm not quite sure, but as Ms. Travanti mentioned, yes, that information was presented at a school board meeting about a month ago or so. So I don't know if it was also presented at the schools. I'm sure it was presented to the parents of the students that attended the camp. And to the first part of that question, why aren't we doing this throughout the entire year? That answer is sort of in the question right there. Camp Catchup is something that is offered to students who are identified as being 2 years behind in their reading or math, and that means that we are waiting for 2 years for them to be behind. So we are waiting until they are in 2nd or 3rd or 4th or 5th grade before we are taking action. And I know that this camp was successful and had wonderful teachers and wonderful instruction, but it's in the wrong place. It needs to be at the beginning. If we put this sort of intensive learning, developmentally appropriate education in kindergarten and 1st and 2nd grade, we don't need them to catch up. We don't need to fill the gap. They're already successful.
Thank you. Now, Ms. Travanti, I have a couple questions here about teachers approaching the board and presenting issues. And the first part, the questioner says that teachers do not feel comfortable presenting their issues to the board. And the second one wants to know, what can you do to have teachers' perspectives presented on a regular basis? So addressing the involvement of teachers in the board.
Well, first of all, teachers are the district. I mean, they're there for our students. Our students are spending more time with them than they are at home a lot of times with the parents, and especially in working parent situations. So I value very much what the teachers have to say. They're engaging our kids. They know the resources that they need or lacking of in the classrooms, what the parents needs. And so I value the teachers. What we need to do is create a forum or create an avenue so that teachers can approach the board, whether it's at a board meeting, whether it's an inbox that only teachers have access to send to the board. Maybe it's anonymous. Maybe they feel more comfortable that way. But I would definitely, if elected, would be open to creating some type of avenue for teachers to have a voice. Thank you.
Mr. Holt.
If I understand that question correctly, you are wanting to know how they can approach me, correct?
Well, if you,
as a board member. If I understand
the
that.
board as a whole, just
Well,
present things to the board. Okay.
okay. First of all, with the extensive background that I have with the school district, I probably personally know a third of the teachers in this school. I've socialized with quite a few of them. I'm extremely approachable. If there's anything that anyone needs even now, I'm not even on the board, people come to me. So there's nothing I would do different for myself, only because I'm already doing it. As a board as a whole, I would communicate with my fellow board members and let them know that they need to communicate and be more open with the community and the teachers. Show them, lead them by example. Thank you.
Ms. Lockerbie.
What you first read was a statement, and it was that teachers don't feel comfortable approaching the board. And I am so sorry for that you haven't felt comfortable approaching the board, because that's not the way it should be. The board members are here to listen to the community, to the stakeholders, to the teachers and the staff. That's the way it should be. And if it hasn't been that way, I'm sorry. When I'm on the board, I will make sure to encourage you to come to board meetings if you would like to, encourage you to communicate with the board, encourage you to communicate with me, and I will always be reaching out to you for your input.
And Mr. Williams?
I want to continue to listen to them constructively. Receive them as the important stakeholders that they are. Continue to be approachable, which I've always been since I've been here. I still got friends that are teachers, and I don't want to let that friendship go. I don't think the capacity as a board member should put you in any higher position than who you are. I see these folks at Vons and Walmart every day. I want to be approachable as I always am. And to continue to keep the gracious relationship that I've already created with several teachers in my tenure when my kids going to school, all the way to special education, and check anybody that has the audacity to go after them in retaliation just for speaking to me. And everybody knows I will do that, because teachers have the right to share. They're the decision maker. They're the ones making it happen in the room. It would behoove you not to receive a teacher.
Thank you. Mr. Holt, should teachers carry guns in school?
I definitely say that they should not carry guns in school. I don't think that our state would allow them to do that anyways. Safety is a big issue in every school district. We have to make sure that we use all other means to protect the students. That is first and foremost. Protect the students by other means, training, education. Guns is not an option. Thank you.
Ms. Lockerbie.
Thank you all so much for laughing at that question. I'm so glad that you felt that that was ridiculous, because I feel that it's ridiculous to arm our teachers with handguns in the school. What I would like to do is arm our teachers with the respect that they need, with the tools that they need, with the tools that our students need to be well educated and successful, so that they're not frustrated, so they're not anxious, so they're not disenfranchised, so that they don't feel when they get older they need to go and take a handgun and do something terrible in the school district. It's our responsibility to make sure that we support our teachers, support our students, so that everyone feels comfortable and safe.
Mr. Williams.
No. Teachers have a hard enough job right now teaching students.
And Ms. Travante.
Absolutely no. they have enough to deal with than to have to deal with that. But having said that, I was on the school site council at Brad Oaks, both vice chair and chair, and I'm on the school site council at Clifton right now. And part of the responsibilities is going over the safety plan for the students and faculty of each school site. And that's one of my items, my action items, is the district needs to do an assessment and vulnerability assessment for each school site, which needs to include a plan, an exit plan for all students, especially those that have mobility issues. I've heard from several parents that becomes an issue when during lockdown or evacuation, earthquake drills and all that. So I'd like to see that enhanced at each school site. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Lockerbie, how do you intend to bridge the gaps in parent education for those families who are homeless or may live in poverty in our city?
That is an interesting question. How do I bridge the gap for educating the parents? Was that the question?
Yes.
That's a very tough question and something that I hadn't considered. I'm aware of the percentage of students that we have in the district that are without homes, but I don't know how I would bridge that gap. That's something that I'll have to think about, and thank you so much for that question. I will be thinking about that.
Mr. Williams.
I think you can bridge the gap with the parents for their understanding with the kiddos with PQ. PQ is a program to teach the parents what the kids are doing in the school. As far as the kids who are not established, like my family, and blessed to establish like the rest of the family here, we have to continue to get resources from the state and government to subsidize that. Our focus is the classroom. And from my experience, the PQ is an excellent tool for teachers to understand what their kids are going through, the rigor, the classes, what they're taking, the understanding, because that will mirror better expectations at home. You know, this is a group thing to me. You know, teachers are not responsible to help the kids. Teachers are not responsible for kids that underprivileged, as far as, you know, homeless and like that, but yet they still have to put their best effort to teach those kiddos too. The school district can't do everything. We need to outsource resources to help us in that transition with those particular families.
And Ms. Travante.
Yes, I imagine the district, as well as the city of Monrovia, has resources in programs for the homeless and the poverty, and we should definitely be providing those resources to our families that happen to be in that situation. Mr. Williams mentions PK. It's a wonderful program for those, especially the English learner families and the impoverished families that need to feel engaged in our district, and that's a great program. They learn terminology that maybe some of us take for granted, and now they have items to discuss with their students, and they feel part of their education process. I went to a graduation last year, and it completely changed me, and I hope to go to all the PK graduations this year. I have actually been asked to be a speaker because I too come from humble beginnings. My parents were immigrants from Mexico. I'm first generation. Spanish was my first language. I went to the ESL classes and grew, thankfully. So hopefully I'm a good example.
Yeah, Mr. Holt.
PK is definitely a great program. What I've also found out, being that I've been so involved with my kids' education and with their teachers, attending all of their field trips and volunteering and the kids needing to be transported from one location to another for sports, for all three of my daughters. I had a lot of time to spend talking to the kids and to the parents. And one of the definite things that I've noticed is how amazing our teachers are in our school district. And I'm not talking about elementary school, but also middle school and high school. I experienced those for several years at all levels. And I see how the teachers, when they find out that there's a child that has a personal problem, that has an issue, how committed they are to that child in helping them out. That is amazing. I've worked in other districts as well, but Monrovia Unified School District, when it comes to kids needing somebody, these teachers really go above and beyond, and I want to recognize them. I want to say thank you for that. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Williams, there's a question here that's got 3 parts, so I'm just going to sort of put them together and say that this person wants to know what the showcase programs are in the Monrovia schools, and on the other side, what are the weaknesses of the Monrovia schools?
Dual immersion programs, creative art schools, state mandated tests, I'm not very happy with. We need to continue to be rigorous in our classrooms, but at the same time, we've got problems. You know, I have the audacity to say that. We got things we should work on. We got things we need to do better, you know. And so based on the state mandate, that's a challenge for us. And it will continue to be a challenge. As I mentioned earlier, we're moving up the ladder, but we're not moving fast enough. And we can continue to do better, and we need to do better.
Ms. Travanti?
We've got some great programs in place right now. The Code to the Future and the dual immersion programs are really great. And the fact that Wild Rose is starting their creative arts program is wonderful. At the high school level, we've been adding some curriculum and AP courses that will make our students more attractive to colleges and universities. We need to continue in that direction. The STEM program, the sciences, we need to continue with that direction. But where I see weaknesses is actually a positive, because Monrovia is a very diverse community. But with that brings some challenges, economic challenges, cultural challenges, language barriers, and all that. So I think we need to do a lot more in that area to engage that part of our community and help close that gap, the learning gap. So thank you.
Mr. Holt?
Well, I'm very proud to say, since I've been involved with the school district for such a long time, that I actually participated in the dual immersion program. As a bilingual person, it was extremely important for me to support a program like that. The art programs that we have are phenomenal. The music programs, early learners programs, AP courses, and STEM programs are all phenomenal programs that we've put together. We have to focus on the academic side with the kids. Showing them how important academics are is going to lead to them being so much more successful. And using the programs that we've put together alongside with the academics makes the kids want to come to school. They enjoy themselves and want to participate more. Thank you.
And Ms. Lockerbie?
Our showcase programs, as everyone here has mentioned, are our dual immersion programs. My 2 elementary school children participated in the Spanish dual immersion program, and I'm so proud to say that they are bilingual because of that. The Code to the Future, the Arts Magnet School, and also the program at the college that allows students to participate in earning an AA degree along with their high school diploma when they graduate from high school. Those are all showcase programs. Our weaknesses are our budget. We don't have, I would really love to bring something that is not at the high school right now, and it is vocational tech to the high school, so that when our kids and our families are in high school, they have a choice. They have a choice to go on to a four-year college, or they can choose a vocational career. Both of those things are will support them and make them feel comfortable and be successful.
Thank you. Now, we have a lot more questions. There's a lot of interest in the community.
Thank you.
But I think I'm going to give you one more question, because it's a more general question about your functioning as a board, and then we're going to go on to your statements. So hopefully, when people who've had all these questions about specific programs and ideas in the community can talk to you individually. But this question I'll read to you, and then for Ms. Travanti, and then we will go on to your statements. Given the level of control now exercised by Sacramento, where do you think a school board can have the most impact?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of that. Can you repeat it, please?
Given the level of control now exercised by Sacramento, where do you think a school board can have the most impact?
Well, a school board has the most impact locally, but they can work with state legislators. They can get behind certain legislation, like Anthony Portantino, and also Tony Thurman has submitted some legislation. Some of it was passed, some of it wasn't. So I think that having the knowledge, doing the research, digging down deep into that legislation, and really either promoting it or deciding that it probably wouldn't be good for us locally, that's where the impact will be. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Holt?
The school board needs to work in unison with this specific thing. They need to communicate with the politicians, more importantly, the local ones, and from there branching out, going to our state, Sacramento, letting them know that we're dissatisfied with the funding, that there's money that they're supposed to be giving us and they don't. They need to reprioritize that education is the most important thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lockerbie?
Where the school board has the most impact, I think, is with the curriculum choices that we make. The Common Core standards are set by the state. The curriculum we have control over, and we can choose the curriculum. And I think it's extremely important for our board members to choose appropriate curriculum for our children. The state has set a high standard. The bar is very high, but in order for us to have our children meet those standards, we can make better choices with the curriculum so we can be effective right here in our schools and in our communities.
Mr. Williams?
I think we need to continue to create programs that we can dictate locally, like the program we just entertained on the diocese here. I also think that we need to continue to work closely with Assemblywoman Blanco Rubio, Assemblyman Chris Holden, and Mr. Portantino. We're doing it continuously. We have dialogue with them because we live here, and if we don't get, we're going to complain. And for the best benefits, we need to keep pushing them for better.
Thank you. Now we're ready for closing statements, and we're going to begin with Ms. Travanti.
Great, thank you. Education is not one size fits all. It is critical to have many viable options in place where students will feel inspired, focused on a pathway, and feel a sense of readiness to embark on their future goals, which may not be college or university in some cases, but maybe a trade school or industry-specific program. Our programs need to be as diverse as our students are. Ask yourselves these questions. Who is going to make the biggest impact? Who has the right qualifications and can hit the ground running? Who has taken this campaign seriously and not just seeking another title? Who has everyone's interest in mind? And who has the right background? I will add new energy, a fresh perspective, and a spirit of collaboration to ignite our community's maximum education potential. With your help, I want to put Monrovia on the map as a place to get a great education. Thank you for your time, consideration, and hope to earn your support and vote in November.
Mr. Williams.
Well, I'm excited, quite frankly, to actually be in this capacity. You know, having a child that was in the marching band, a two-time defending CIF champ football player, a girl in the Category 1, and a special needs son that can drive me to the heights. But I love the kiddos. I love this community that I serve. I am still going to serve, despite. 5 things I plan to accomplish is special education resources in Washington, D.C., with our partnership with Congresswoman Grace Napolitano. Transition to middle school art programs to complement Wild Rose. Encourage Camp Catchup for all schools. More dual immersions. I think we should be talking about French and sign language. You know, establish live broadcasting. We're going to test that on homecoming night. We're going to establish live broadcasting for sports events at our high school and middle schools so parents can be more engaged, so we can get the community more engaged with stakeholders in adopting schools. That's what I want to do, and that's what I want to continue to do if I get your vote.
Ms. Lockerbie.
Teachers and certified staff, would you please stand? I want to let you know that I'm not here tonight. I want to let you know that I am not here tonight as a politician. I'm here tonight because I have a personal stake in how you are treated by the district. Parents and students, would you please stand? I will be an advocate for you because I know what you go through every day in the classroom and every night at home. Community members, property owners, business owners, will you please stand? I'm running for you because I know that when we successfully graduate our students through 12th grade, our community is safe, vibrant, and affluent. Thank you so much, and thank you for standing, and please vote for Celine Lockerbie for Monrovia School Board.
And Mr. Holt.
I want to thank everyone for being here this evening and everyone who's watching this on KGM. I just want to let you know that first and foremost, I'm a parent. I'm here because I've seen my kids grow up and go through this school system. And 2 of my daughters are in college, and one of them's a senior at the high school. I've been with them every step of the way, literally. You can ask a lot of their teachers that, and they'll tell you I'm the guy that's been in their classroom. I'm not here for politics or anything like that. I have a personal vested interest in my community and my school district. I know a majority of the teachers. I know a lot of the people in the district office. My actions speak louder than words. Look at my past and everything that I've done. That speaks for itself. If I could do all those things and not be on the board, imagine what I can do on the board. I waited until my kids were older because this is a full-time job. And to be successful, You need to be dedicated at this job, and I'm here for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time to be part of this forum. As we said earlier, the League's voter service goal is to promote an informed and involved electorate. We hope that this event will have helped you to be better informed about choices in this election for your school board. Now it is your turn to be involved and to vote. Please make our democracy work by casting your ballot by mail or at the polling place, and urge your family and friends and neighbors to do the same. Remember, Election Day is Tuesday, November 6th. The deadline for registering to vote in this election is October 22nd. You can register online or check your status at www.registertovote.california.gov. For more information, please see our website at www.lwv-pa.org. And this information, by the way, is available on sheets that the League of Women Voters has available at the table outside, so don't worry if you didn't get all that. That's why I was just reading it quickly. And you can get information on the election and ballot members on votersedge.org. Please remember that democracy is not a spectator sport. I thank you for coming, and I know that Ms. Battle has something else to say before you leave.
But not much. Thank you all again for showing up. We thank the district for allowing us to hold their candidates forum here, and thank you candidates for providing us with an evening of information. So please do remember to vote. MTA appreciates you, CSEA appreciates you, and hopefully we'll have some candidates by November the 7th that have been elected. So good night, drive safely.
Great, now you've had your maiden voyage, you're ready for the next election season, right?
Next election.
Good job, John.
Thank you. Who takes the questions?